What if I told you the conservative world's most talked about feud just exploded into something much darker than anyone expected? Candace Owens has finally broken her silence on the swirling rumors about Erika Kirk and Turning Point USA. And what she just revealed is sending shockwaves through every corner of right-wing media. For months, whispers of betrayal, secret messages, and hidden agendas have dominated the conversation, but now, the truth, or at least Candace's version of it, is out there. This isn't just another political spat. It's a full-blown media war involving power, loyalty, and legacy. And as new evidence surfaces, fans are asking one chilling question: who's really telling the truth and who's rewriting history before our eyes? Candace Owens didn't rise to fame quietly. She exploded onto the scene like a lightning bolt in a political storm. From a college dropout to one of the most outspoken voices in conservative media, her journey has been fueled by controversy, confrontation, and charisma. She built her brand on calling out hypocrisy, clashing with celebrities, and daring to say what others wouldn't. But beneath the fiery speeches and viral moments, there's a calculated mind that understands power, influence, and timing better than almost anyone in her space. She's gone from being the protege of big conservative networks to building her own empire podcasts, documentaries, and millions of loyal followers who treat her words like gospel. Yet, Candace's history isn't without fractures. Her partnerships often end in chaos, her alliances crumble fast, and her name trends as often for feuds as for political takes. It's why this latest drama with Turning Point USA hits differently. For years, she was close to Charlie Kirk, the face of TPUSA, appearing at their events, promoting their causes, and praising their leadership. But behind the scenes, that friendship began to fracture. Candace started feeling boxed out, dismissed, and misunderstood by the very organization she helped elevate. Then, in the months leading up to Charlie Kirk's shocking death, the tension between them wasn't just professional, it was personal. Still, Candace kept quiet, staying out of the TPUSA spotlight. That silence, however, only made the rumors louder. And when the conservative world lost one of its loudest voices, Charlie Kirk, many wondered whether the fallout between him and Candace had gone deeper than anyone realized. But that question only opened the door to something even more explosive, because after Charlie's death, his wife Erika Kirk stepped into the spotlight and everything changed. When Charlie Kirk founded Turning Point USA back in 2012, he wasn't just building a political organization, he was creating an empire. What started as a college movement turned into a multi-million-dollar network, influencing campuses, elections, and the media itself. Charlie was the strategist, the voice, and the brand. But behind every great empire lies a partner who helps hold it all together, and that was Erika Kirk. A former Miss Arizona USA turned media entrepreneur, Erika was the elegant face that balanced Charlie's firebrand energy. Together, they were the conservative power couple, young, ambitious, and untouchable. Then tragedy struck. In September 2025, the news hit like a thunderclap. Charlie Kirk was gone. Assassinated during a public appearance, his death sent shockwaves through the political world and left Turning Point USA in chaos. Overnight, Erika Kirk went from being the supportive spouse to the leader of one of the most powerful conservative organizations in America. She became the new CEO, the symbol of continuity, and for some, the target of endless speculation. It didn't take long for the internet to turn the tragedy into a battleground. Rumors, theories, and screenshots began flooding social media, leaked messages allegedly from Charlie's phone, whispers about secret rivalries, and even claims that TPUSA insiders knew more than they were saying. In the center of that digital storm stood two names, Candace Owens and Erika Kirk. Fans began digging, connecting dots, and questioning loyalties. Why had Candace distanced herself from TPUSA before Charlie's death? Why was Erika avoiding public appearances for weeks afterward? Every silence, every tweet, every old photo became evidence in the court of online opinion. But then came the leak that would ignite the entire firestorm messages allegedly exchanged between Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens that suggested deep fractures inside the conservative empire. And what those messages appeared to reveal was something few could have ever imagined. The leaked messages hit the internet like a digital bomb, spreading across X, Reddit, and Telegram faster than anyone could fact-check. They appeared to show private conversations between Charlie Kirk and Candace Owens, long exchanges about betrayal, mistrust, and hidden agendas within TPUSA's inner circle. One message in particular stood out, Charlie allegedly telling Candace that he believed certain high-profile conservative figures, including Ben Shapiro, were actively trying to sabotage him. The screenshots looked real, complete with timestamps and profile photos, and that was all it took for the internet to explode. Hashtags like #TPUSA leaks and #Kirk Owens trended for days. But within hours, TPUSA insiders began pushing back. Several journalists questioned the authenticity of the texts, pointing out inconsistencies in format and tone. Still, the damage was done. The idea that a secret feud had been brewing between the biggest names in conservative media was too juicy for anyone to ignore. Candace Owens suddenly found herself at the center of an inferno, accused not just of leaking the messages, but of spreading dangerous conspiracy theories about Erika Kirk herself. Online commentators claimed that Candace had privately suggested Erika's rise to power wasn't as innocent as it looked. Screenshots began circulating of anonymous posts hinting that Candace had questions about Charlie's death and Erika's sudden control over TPUSA. Whether or not she ever said it didn't matter, the narrative was out. And when Ben Shapiro publicly accused Candace of spreading those claims, the feud erupted into the open. Candace fired back immediately, calling Shapiro a liar and claiming the media was twisting her words. She went live on her show, voice steady but eyes burning, saying, "I never accused anyone of anything. But when something doesn't make sense, I ask questions, and that's my right." That one sentence split the internet in half. Supporters praised her courage for speaking truth to power, while critics said she was exploiting tragedy for attention. Meanwhile, Erika Kirk stayed silent. No statements, no interviews, no posts. Just a single message on social media. Everyone grieves differently. Please pray before you speak. It was calm, poised, and heartbreakingly vague, but to many, it said everything. The silence only fueled speculation, and suddenly, what had started as leaked messages turned into a full-blown war of narratives, one where truth and rumor blurred beyond recognition. And just when it seemed things couldn't get worse, new whispers began spreading online, ones that would drag Erika Kirk directly into the eye of the storm. The internet loves a villain, and when grief meets gossip, it doesn't take long before someone gets painted as one. In the weeks following Charlie Kirk's death, speculation turned wild, dark theories, anonymous sources, and so-called insider leaks began linking Erika Kirk to events no one could actually prove. Some claimed the assassination was part of a deeper plot inside TPUSA. Others accused Candace Owens of fueling the fire for clout, and a few even said both women were part of a power struggle that went far beyond politics. No one knew what was true, but the chaos was addictive. Online threads described alleged conversations where Candace hinted that something didn't add up about Charlie's final days. Clips were pulled out of context, quotes twisted, and headlines turned speculation into headlines that read like verdicts. Owens suggests Erika Kirk knew more than she admitted, one blog screamed, despite there being no evidence of such a statement. Every time Candace stayed quiet, people said she was hiding something. Every time Erika posted a Bible verse, people claimed it was a coded message. Then came the viral post that lit the match, a now-deleted thread claiming Candace had private recordings related to TPUSA's inner dealings, suggesting she was ready to expose the truth. Within hours, millions had seen it, and Erika's team had to issue a statement calling it false, saying she was focusing on honoring Charlie's legacy, not fighting internet lies. But the statement only added fuel to the fire. Fans of both women turned on each other. Some accused Erika of silencing people inside TPUSA. Others said Candace was intentionally stirring controversy to rebuild her relevance after distancing herself from the organization. A few even pointed fingers at Ben Shapiro, calling him the hidden hand behind the feud. And as usual, social media blurred every line between evidence and emotion. The truth was, no one knew what actually happened, but perception had already done its damage. Candace's reputation was taking hits daily, Erika's leadership was under scrutiny, and TPUSA's public image was unraveling fast. The once invincible conservative empire was now the center of a scandal bigger than any political debate. And that's when Candace Owens decided she wasn't staying silent anymore. After weeks of accusations and manipulation, she took to her show and made her position clear once and for all. The internet loves a villain, and when grief meets gossip, it doesn't take long before someone gets painted as one. In the weeks following Charlie Kirk's death, speculation turned wild, dark theories, anonymous sources, and so-called insider leaks began linking Erika Kirk to events no one could actually prove. Some claimed the assassination was part of a deeper plot inside TPUSA. Others accused Candace Owens of fueling the fire for clout, and a few even said both women were part of a power struggle that went far beyond politics. No one knew what was true, but the chaos was addictive. Online threads described alleged conversations where Candace hinted that something didn't add up about Charlie's final days. Clips were pulled out of context, quotes twisted, and headlines turned speculation into headlines that read like verdicts. Owens suggests Erika Kirk knew more than she admitted, one blog screamed, despite there being no evidence of such a statement. Every time Candace stayed quiet, people said she was hiding something. Every time Erika posted a Bible verse, people claimed it was a coded message. Then came the viral post that lit the match, a now-deleted thread claiming Candace had private recordings related to TPUSA's inner dealings, suggesting she was ready to expose the truth. Within hours, millions had seen it, and Erika's team had to issue a statement calling it false, saying she was focusing on honoring Charlie's legacy, not fighting internet lies. But the statement only added fuel to the fire. Fans of both women turned on each other. Some accused Erika of silencing people inside TPUSA. Others said Candace was intentionally stirring controversy to rebuild her relevance after distancing herself from the organization. A few even pointed fingers at Ben Shapiro, calling him the hidden hand behind the feud. And as usual, social media blurred every line between evidence and emotion. The truth was, no one knew what actually happened, but perception had already done its damage. Candace's reputation was taking hits daily, Erika's leadership was under scrutiny, and TPUSA's public image was unraveling fast. The once invincible conservative empire was now the center of a scandal bigger than any political debate. And that's when Candace Owens decided she wasn't staying silent anymore. After weeks of accusations and manipulation, she took to her show and made her position clear once and for all. When Candace Owens finally spoke, she didn't ease into it, she detonated it. Sitting in her signature black studio, eyes locked on the camera, she opened with one line that silenced the internet. "I've stayed quiet long enough." There was no hesitation in her tone, no apology in her voice, just raw conviction. She addressed the elephant in the room immediately, saying she never accused Erika Kirk of anything, never spread lies about Charlie's death, and that the media had twisted her words to feed their own narrative. But then she did what Candace does best. She turned the story into a challenge. She demanded transparency from TPUSA, asking why certain documents hadn't been released, why some staff had suddenly resigned, and why online narratives were being guided by people who claimed to be neutral. It wasn't an attack, it was a performance, calm, methodical, and sharp. She framed herself not as a troublemaker, but as the only one brave enough to question what others were too afraid to say. Her fans flooded social media with support, calling her fearless, real, and unbought. Others, though, saw something darker, a calculated move to redirect attention and regain influence after being frozen out of conservative circles. But the real twist came halfway through her broadcast when Candace dropped a cryptic hint that caught everyone off guard. She said, "If you knew what I know, you'd be asking the same questions." That single sentence sent her comment section into chaos. Was it proof? Was it bait? Or was it strategy? Within hours, Erika Kirk's name was trending again. Reporters started demanding answers from TPUSA's board, influencers were choosing sides, and even Ben Shapiro's media network had to issue a statement distancing itself from the drama. Candace had turned the tables, no longer the accused, but the accuser, positioning herself as the truth seeker in a movement built on loyalty and image. Meanwhile, Erika Kirk, who had avoided public comment for weeks, finally broke her silence too, but in a completely different way. She posted a simple photo of her late husband with the caption, "I forgive everyone who's turned pain into spectacle. No names, no shade, just grace." And yet, to millions watching online, it felt like a direct shot at Candace Owens. The divide was now complete. Two powerful women, both claiming to defend truth, standing on opposite sides of the same story. And as their words ricocheted through social media, the movement they both helped build began to fracture from the inside. But what happens next might be the most telling part of all, because this isn't just about who's right or wrong. It's about who controls the narrative now, that the truth has become a weapon. The fallout from Candace's statement was immediate and brutal. Overnight, Turning Point USA, once the polished machine of conservative youth activism, looked fractured and chaotic. Board members began distancing themselves, donors started asking questions, and the movement that prided itself on unity suddenly looked like it was eating itself alive. For years, TPUSA had been the gold standard of right-wing organization, but now it was trending for all the wrong reasons: leaks, betrayal, and personal drama that felt more like a reality show than a political institution. Erika Kirk, meanwhile, was under immense pressure. She had inherited not just her husband's position but his legacy, and now she was fighting to preserve both, while the internet questioned every move she made. Behind the scenes, insiders said staff turnover was rising, partnerships were stalling, and key voices were quietly backing away. To the public, Erika appeared calm, attending charity events, giving soft interviews about grief and faith, but behind that polished image was a woman under siege. Every time she spoke, her words were dissected, reinterpreted, and weaponized. And the one person she had once considered an ally, Candace Owens, had now become her loudest skeptic. For Candace, the controversy was a double-edged sword. On one hand, it reignited her relevance in a conservative world that had started to move on. On the other, it painted her as a disruptor, a voice too unpredictable for a movement obsessed with control. She started getting invitations from rival networks, her podcast numbers spiked, and her clips dominated online debates. But in political circles, doors quietly began to close. Commentators began asking what this feud really revealed, not just about two women, but about the movement itself. How fragile is loyalty when power shifts hands? How easily can truth be drowned out when influence becomes currency? Candace had always thrived in controversy, but this time, she wasn't just fighting her enemies, she was fighting a machine that once made her. Meanwhile, TPUSA's brand began to morph. Erika tried to refocus it on faith, family, and freedom, but critics accused her of using religion to silence dissent. Leaked reports suggested that internal staff were divided, with some calling for a complete rebranding and others demanding Erika step down. The movement's credibility was on the line, and so was the reputation of every influencer tied to it. And amid it all, Candace dropped one more bombshell, an unannounced late-night live stream titled "The Truth About Turning Point." Viewers flooded in by the hundreds of thousands, expecting more accusations, more drama, more chaos. But instead, Candace ended the stream with a chilling smile and just 4 words: "You're not ready yet." It wasn't a conclusion, it was a warning. And those who knew her best understood that when Candace Owens says she's not finished, something bigger is always coming next. By the time the dust started to settle, the story had grown far beyond Candace Owens or Erika Kirk. It had become a mirror reflecting the very thing both women claimed to stand against: corruption, control, and the manipulation of truth. What began as whispers about leaked messages had turned into one of the most chaotic public implosions the conservative movement had seen in years. Friendships shattered, alliances shifted, and the once unified message of Turning Point USA fractured into competing voices, all fighting for dominance. Candace Owens walked away from it all, looking battle-worn but more famous than ever. To her supporters, she had proven that she wasn't afraid to challenge anyone, not Ben Shapiro, not Erika Kirk, not the machine itself. She became the symbol of rebellion in a world where everyone else played it safe. But to her critics, she had crossed a line, turning grief into a stage and using chaos as a brand strategy. Love her or hate her, Candace had once again forced the world to pay attention, and that, in her world, was victory enough. Erika Kirk, meanwhile, chose silence over spectacle. She stayed off social media, focused on rebuilding TPUSA's internal structure, and spoke only through short interviews that always circled back to one message: forgiveness. Whether it was genuine grace or strategic restraint didn't matter anymore. What mattered was how the world saw her. And to many, she became the quiet counterpoint to Candace's fire, the symbol of dignity in a digital storm. But as the weeks went on, one thing became painfully clear. The conservative empire that Charlie Kirk had built was now something else entirely divided, emotional and unpredictable. Every speech, every post, every live stream from that world now felt like part of a much bigger war, not of ideology, but of ego and influence. And for the millions watching online, the takeaway wasn't just about politics, it was about power. Who gets to tell the story when the storytellers are at war? Who gets to define truth in a space where everyone has a platform and no one has restraint? Candace Owens may have broken her silence, but in doing so, she broke something else, the illusion that this movement was ever truly united. As the headlines fade and the live streams go quiet, one haunting question remains in the air: was this about justice, or was it about revenge? Maybe both. But one thing's for sure, the next time Candace Owens says she's done being silent, the world won't just listen, it'll brace itself.